Mr. Abhishek Shah, founder and CEO, CommerceX, to please start the session.
Hi, thanks, Ojaswini. Hi, all. Abhishek here from CommerceX. Uh, Pleased to be part of this event and very excited to speak about my favorite topic. And I hope this is something which adds value to all of us here. I'll just share my screen so we're able to see the presentation. Yeah, I hope the presentation is visible to all.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, great. So I'm here to speak about the direct-to-consumer e-commerce revolution in India, and this is a topic which we have partnered with D2C Insider, which is a community of more than 500 digital-first brands, and I think a lot of brands here would also be traditional and legacy brands. So this is a mix of both how this revolution can be leveraged and very interesting stuff. So let's just go by it quickly. So I think this is the core thesis, right? I mean, if you look at what's happening, so if you look at the internet base, it's rising very fast from 170 million in 2015 to 650 million in 2020 post Geo, and projected to go to 850 million in 2025. So that's a huge upside post Geo. And if you look at the online shoppers, that's also growing very fast from less than 100 million 5 years back to 400 million today to growing to 550 million in next 5 years. But what is more interesting for legacy brands is the digital influence shoppers. So if you look at this number, these are people who are essentially on digital but can be influenced and can end up buying offline also. So this is also an interesting number, growing very fast from 60 million to 200 million in 2020 to 380 million, and this is a big opportunity for brands to leverage. Another data point I wanted to share was if you look at the share of e-commerce as a percentage of the overall retail market, right? 2015 we were looking at 1%. 2025 we are looking at 15%. So I think that's a very huge tectonic shift. And if you also notice, the modern trade, share is actually going down. So what's happening is essentially e-commerce is actually eating into a lot of the modern trade share. I think with this COVID thing, it's very clear that the Kirana stores are not going away, and they are going to be very important. But I think it's the modern trade where e-commerce is really hitting. And this is very critical. And if you guys have seen, something which has been floated out recently in US, the trend of e-commerce penetration till 2020, how it grew, and suddenly, post-COVID, how e-commerce penetration has increased, right? I think this trend will stay, and this trend is here to, this will be a consumer shift, a consumer behavior shift. And I think this is the right opportunity for brands to leverage. So, just to give you some perspective, what's really happening, right? I mean, when we talk about digital and we talk about e-commerce, we tend to mix it up. What we believe that, e-commerce is a new dimension. E-commerce is not just something which a digital head can drive for you. I think e-commerce requires a very different capability. So, if you look at the evolution from the first industrial revolution to the second industrial revolution, it was about scale, right? The second industrial revolution was about scale, right? First was about, mass production, right? The third, which we have gone through in the last 10 years, has been about globalization, right? Outsourcing and globalization. I think, the next phase in which we all are now seeing is relocalization, right? And, what I also call personalization. And that is where, D2C or direct to consumer really fits in, because that's the only medium where you can directly talk to the consumer and customize and personalize and build one-to-one relationship. Now, what's the impact of this? The impact of this is, this is a survey, by JD Power. 2/3 of consumers, expect direct brand connectivity, which means that today's consumers, expect, the brand to speak to them directly and, speak in their language, right? Almost, 67% of consumers have used a brand social media site for, engagement, right? So these are digitally aware consumers now you're targeting, which means, when we talk about personalization, when we talk about, reaching to the consumer directly, building one-to-one relationships, this is a fundamental shift in the way, brands operate, right? This is how, the legacy way was, right? A brand would have an advertising agency. The agency would have publishers, be it television or be it print media, and the publisher would then interact with the consumer through an ad, right? Now, what is changing is when you talk about direct to consumer, right? This is how it looks like, and this is very, very different, from how brands have been used to doing it. So, when you talk about going direct to consumer and selling, online, to consumer directly, the capabilities require actually merge. So this is where I think the brands will really need to invest in building new capabilities, and this is the area where brands will struggle the most, right? I mean, the opportunity is clear for all, but how do you really build these new capabilities? Right from technology to CRMs to call centers to logistics, to the whole digital marketing. This whole part is where brands will need to adopt. This is the part where brands are already there, right, in terms of warehousing and packaging and all of that, right? So I think the stack required for direct to consumer fulfillment and data and technology is something which brands will have to really innovate on. And that that's the whole idea of someone like CommerceX, where we essentially partner with brands and we help them run this. Now, just look at it, what's happened globally, right? I mean, when we talk about direct to consumer, this is a phenomena which is, global, right? And it started from the US. And, these are all the, top D2C brands in the US. And each of them have actually been category leaders, right? Someone like a Harry's, just for an example, right? So Harry's actually made a huge dent on, Gillette's market share, right? And that's the kind of impact we are looking at, right? I mean, it's not that, digital will always be 4% of your business, or, you can ignore it. I think what's more important here is, the way, your consumers are moving, right? You need to be in their consideration set, and you need to, talk to them, because, they will be majority of your future consumers, even offline, right? And, this is disruption, and, brands have to adopt to it. They have to, invest in it. I think this is the time when, the have-nots or the haves will be very clear in the next few years. Now, all this is good. I'm sure most of the brands understand this, right? In terms of, why e-commerce and why direct to consumer and, the digital penetration and all of that, right? But I think, having interacted with a lot of brands, on an ongoing basis, I think the major perception is that, e-commerce is something which is not for us. It is for the funded, VC funded players, and, it is a high burn game. Just wanted to give you some perspective, because I've been an e-commerce entrepreneur, for the last 10 years. Look at this. I mean, this is something, which is a huge evolution in the market. Obviously, penetration we have already spoken about, right? I mean, the whole, consumer set has exploded, right? But along with that, the infrastructure to support e-commerce has also exploded, right? So things like payment gateways, things like, deliveries, things like, last mile. Now, from a marketing perspective, the CACs have really gone down. And this is because of consumers' evolvement, right? So consumers today are more prone to click on an ad and buy online and have a credit card, right? Frankly, when I started e-commerce in 2010, none of this existed, right? So we had to build our own logistics, or even a Flipkart or Amazon. They had to go ahead and build their own stack, right? But today, for brands, all of this is available on a SaaS model, right? So you can just plug and play, and your go-to-market cost is really low, right? And this is exactly what we envisioned 10 years back, and this has actually happened. So I don't think it is anymore a burn game. I think a lot of brands can build sustainable businesses out of their e-commerce, and it can be a long-term sustainable strategy. Now, just to give you some perspective, right? I talk more about digital first brands when I say D2C, because unfortunately, the traditional brands have not really pioneered e-commerce till now. And when I say D2C, I don't mean selling on Amazon and Flipkart, right? When I say D2C, I mean here selling directly to your consumer, right? So, the only examples which I can take is of digital first brands, because these are the only guys who have really shown how to do it, right? So look at these three examples, right? Bombay Shaving Company raised 45 crores in Series B. Mamaearth, at 100 crore run rate. So Mamaearth is a brand which targets, Johnson & Johnson kind of category, right? I mean, baby and moms, right? Personal care, right? Man Company, I mean, very interesting brand, right? I mean, men's grooming was always considered to be a very small niche, right? Offline, right? And, Man Company has proven that, it's a niche which can scale. And just digitally, they have scaled it so much, right? So almost 30% of market share in the beard grooming category. And this is disruption, right? I mean, it will be very difficult for traditional brands to react later once the consumer perception has already moved towards these digital first brands. So this is both good as well as maybe a wake up call, maybe something which is a gap which traditional brands should take up seriously. Uh, you know, uh, this is some of the Indian examples, right? So some of the digital first brands from India, and all of them are in different categories. Mom's company again in baby and moms. Neiman's is doing footwear. Fabel Street is doing women's workwear. Azani is doing athleisure. The Nike category. Man company we've already spoken about. Mattresses is a great category. Healthy snacks. So I think the disruption is all across. I don't think it will be only one category specific. So whichever brand, whichever category you are in, there is definitely a threat from the digital first brands who will come and take away your consumer if you are not engaging with them directly. Now all this is again great, but why is this not happening, right? I mean if it is so obvious that brands should talk to their consumers directly, consumers need it, the ecosystem has evolved, digital first brands are already doing it. So as a brand owner, as a traditional brand owner, why is this not happening? Now, even if you look at the US market, this is data from the US market, right? Very interesting, right? Only 4% of brands are selling direct to consumer, even in the US, right? So we're talking about the most evolved market, right? So I think the opportunity is global, and it's there for everyone to grab. Another interesting data point is 7% of them are selling a significant amount of products to the consumer, direct to the consumer, right? So that's a very, very small revenue share of the overall pie. So that just shows that this evolution has been waiting to happen, and I think with this COVID situation, I think I think a lot of brands will now accelerate their digital strategy and their e-commerce strategy. Now, if you don't do this, I mean, what happens, right? I mean, these are some of the examples of the US, like I was just mentioning, right? Harry's as a brand has really made a dent in, Gillette's market share, right? And each of these brands, Glossier is a great example of a personal care brand built directly, online, and huge brand. A brand called Away in the US has become one of the largest, luggages brand, and, almost threatening Samsonite's monopoly, right? So these are insurgent brands. These are we call them insurgent brands because these are challenger brands, right? And some of them will really prove the concept, right? I mean, proof of concept. I think traditional brands can definitely react to it, and they can obviously do that. But if you can be proactive and you can actually lead from front, because what you actually are sitting on is on a huge brand asset, right? But what the consumer also expects is communication and direct customer service, right? And that is where these digital first brands are very, very savvy. They are very, very social friendly. They are very consumer friendly. They talk to consumers. They are able to innovate their product lines faster because of the direct feedbacks they get. And this is slowly will make a lot of traditional brands irrelevant if they don't innovate. So yeah, I mean, that's been my my takeaway. One, obviously digital penetration is increasing rapidly. E-commerce shoppers are exploding. This is a tectonic shift in the consumer behavior, which is irreversible. Brands will need to invest in capabilities and channels to stay relevant. The model is proven, right? I mean, there are so many insurgent brands who have proven the model, right? So there is no reason why a large traditional brand cannot leverage this. In fact, what we have seen is that when a traditional brand comes on e-commerce and does D2C, their CAC is actually much lower. Their conversion rates are much higher. Obviously, because there is a brand pull which is already created. I mean, there's a trust which is already created, which an insurgent brand will have to actually burn a lot of money in building the brand visibility. Indian e-commerce system is ripe, and this is the time for you to go direct to consumer and really take this as a separate P&L and build it out. Early indicators in India also have been very encouraging. Unfortunately, the incumbents are still slow in adopting, but I think that movement started pre-COVID itself. I think that was already happening, but I think the good thing is that now this will become a priority for a lot of brands, and a lot of the management consensus will drive this, and that is very good news for the industry, because imagine, I mean, if you are a Nike or a Puma and you spend 50 crores on digital marketing, on brand building, why not have a landing page? Why not convert some of them into your sales, right? And also get real-time feedbacks and on the consumer. So I think this will be a great great long-term impact on the industry, on the advertising industry overall. because a lot of the media will turn into performance and will turn into e-commerce media, right? And once brands are able to measure the ROI of their marketing, of their digital marketing, and they're able to see the returns, they will invest more, right? So that's my takeaway. Would love to take a couple of questions in case any of you have something.
Right, Mr. Shah, thank you so much for the takeaways that you gave from the e-commerce space as well as direct to consumer side of the business. Um, to for e-commerce to be adopted, it's very good if you're talking to digital natives or who are very conversant with digital, with the e-commerce side of the business. So, with the present government's stress more on local products, on Atmanirbhar, on indigenous products, how do you get that entire ecosystem onto the e-commerce platforms? How do you uh, hand them the tools? How do you give them, impart the training to skill them, impart the skills to them to adopt it in a larger scale?
No, absolutely. I think that's a great question, and I think with Mr. Modi, our Prime Minister himself pushing a go local. So that's one of the themes at our community. So D2C Insider, like I said, is a community of digital first brands, and we are actually taking that forward. And I think like I said, the ecosystem is already there, right? It's not that brands have to really go out of their way. I think from a solutioning or from a knowledge layer perspective, there are partners like CommerceX. There are so many other partners. I think and there are also platforms like JioMart coming in. There is Amazon. So I think there is enough avenues available for anyone who wants to take digital and e-commerce seriously today, right? There is a Shopify, which is like a plug and play, and I think there will be some learning curve. It's not that see, e-commerce is a new channel, right? It's as good as opening a store, right? So any store will have a learning curve, will have a gestation period, will have.
It's 2:00.
So I think that learning curve, people will go through. But it's just that the ecosystem is today very, very matured and ready for them to go ahead with it, both from a direct to consumer as well as from a platform or a marketplace perspective.
Right, Mr. Shah, can I request you to come onto the full screen mode and not share the screen?
Sure. Yeah.
There we have you. Now, when it comes to building a business to consumer model, I know you took us through it, but could you share some more examples from the India perspective? There were a lot of examples you shared from the US market, but do you see someone from India that has really nailed it bang on and they are achieving great results out of it? A couple of examples, if you could share with us.
So I mentioned a lot of examples of digital first brands, right? Someone like a Mamaearth, which is 100 crore plus in cosmetics.
Right.
There's Sugar Cosmetics, which is 100 crore plus. Man Company in grooming. So these are all digital first brands. Unfortunately, when you talk about traditional brands, I think that's been the vision for CommerceX, and that's what we have been championing. But I think like I said, brands have been sitting on the edge on whether they should do it or not, and there is a perception issue also, like I mentioned, right? That hey, that is a big boys game, and that is a game which Amazon will win. I don't think so. I think traditional brands also are sitting on a huge brand asset, and they should monetize that, and it can be a sustainable business. I think some of them have been trying it. It's not that they have not been trying it, but somewhere maybe it was early to market. Also, the ecosystem was not ready. Someone like a Shopper Stop has been putting a very serious effort in the last few years. Some of the retailers have been doing it. Some of the brands have been doing it, but I don't, frankly, there is no that one case study right now, which unfortunately we can look at. So I think someone has to create that, and I think few are in the pipeline, and we should be able to see that in the next 1-2 years.
Right. Could you give us some of at least a couple of case studies in which CommerceX is working along with to adopt e-commerce and adopt the business to consumer concept?
Right. So we have a lot of such examples of like I said, digital first brands, right? A brand like M Caffeine, right? Which we started from scratch, and we grew it to a couple of crores of monthly revenue on just their D2C, right? And Man Company is another example. Azani Sports is another example. All of these are built online first, right? Traditional brands, we are still, like I said, in the process, and we're working with someone like a TT Group, which is one of the oldest, innerwear brands in the country, 100-year-old group. And we act as a digital transformation partner for them, and we help them, navigate the e-commerce journey. But very early stage, very, very encouraging results. The ROI is, 10x of, what they would have got offline. And, the revenue growth is like really 30-40% month on month, because they're sitting on such a huge base of, latent demand, right? Consumers already know the brand. It's already available everywhere. But not any case study till now, unfortunately, not just for CommerceX, but I think as an industry, where any traditional brand has really scaled their direct to consumer. But I'm very positive that that's going to happen in the next couple of years.
Right. So you've given us certain ideas as to, why the traditional brands actually are staying away from it. So what do you feel, would be that push for them to adopt it on a larger scale? Are there any kind of studies that you've done? You've spoken about the perception problem over here. Apart from that, is logistics that big a problem for them to jump into this fray?
So see, like I said, the ecosystem has evolved so much. There are multiple logistic and fulfillment partners where, see, a traditional brand is not geared for e-commerce by design, right? I mean, they are not designed for a unit out, unit in kind of a logistics, right? So their traditional warehouses cannot support that, because they are used to supplying in bulk to modern trade and distributors, right? But there are third-party solutions, right? So there are a delivery, there is a Holy Soul, there is so many such providers who can or a Fulfilled by Amazon, for example, right? I mean, that's a great platform, right? I mean, brands can just send the goods to Amazon, and Amazon will fulfill it. They will pick, pack, ship, deliver, right? And the same Fulfilled by Amazon kind of service is available from third parties also for brands' own website, right? So yes, I think, see, logistics in India is very complicated. When we started e-commerce in 2008-9, when it was Rediff era, it was only India Post, right? But today, if you look at, there are so many e-commerce specialist logistic companies like Delivery, right, which have been started from scratch, right? Blue Dart, Aramax have also adopted, right? So today the pin code coverage is almost 28,000 pin codes in India, right? And that is huge. I mean, that is essentially, I think that is one of the reasons why brands should take it seriously, because this is the way for you to actually reach every part of the country in one shot, right? A lot of brands who might be regional, who might be specifically bigger in some part of the country, for them leveraging the brand equity and reaching out to the rest of the country through e-commerce is a great idea. So yeah, so to answer your question, yes, it's not perfect even now. There are challenges with RTO, there are challenges with cash on delivery, but these are solved problems, right? I mean, these are not something which these are known devils, right? So with the right partner, with the right a team, you can definitely make sense out of it.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. That was really, really informative, especially to a lot of people who are, looking to enter this particular field. And I'm sure this will be great help to them. Thank you, Mr. Shah. Thank you so much.
I think there's one question on the Q&A. Should I answer that?
Oh yeah, please.
So I think someone has asked, what would be the impact of the ongoing world across push back to China-based products and on the existing Chinese brands? Yeah, so I think not to really take a side on India versus China, but I think overall for Indian brands, I think this is a great opportunity to leverage, and India is ready. I mean, India is the biggest consumption market, right? And Indian e-commerce has matured over the last 10 years, right? So Amazon and Flipkart and Myntra and all of us have actually burned, all the VCs have burned to create it, right? So this is the right time for you to leverage it, and so I think the impact is only positive. Definitely, it's a huge positive if you leverage it. I hope that answers the question.
I'm sure it does. Thank you, Mr. Shah. Thank you for your time and your insights.